Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing very well. So I thought I'd give you a quick update on Bitcoin and just my thoughts on what we're going to see in the next 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, just what's happened over the last couple of days. So overall, you can see again we're still ranging underneath this resistance level I shared yesterday. So if we zoom in on the lower time frame, start to use the 4-hour chart. Yeah, the Bulls are putting up a fight. So we can see here we did test down into the 73,700 sort of level of support. So over the next couple of days, you've got simply two options. Sort of while we're in this sort of tight range here, you literally could squeeze down. So between, call it 74,900, 73,600, until you break out. You just be trading to the range. So if you get a poke out of the range high, close back below it, you can short down to the range low at 73.6, or you can sort of wait for a play below the range high, deviate back above it, you sort of long here, stop loss below, back up again. Or you can flip over the 74,900 mark, long it back up to the 77,000, up to the 80,000 mark. So in terms of targets, if we do break out, you're looking at the 80,000 mark, simply because against the range high of this mini range we've got here. So to keep it simple, that's my thoughts. So if we flip 74,900, so we're looking to long up to 77,000, up to 70, call it 80,000, 79,000, up to 80,000, thousand sort of range. But overall, you can't argue it's a bullish range. And I am anticipating another leg down, but like I said before in a previous video, if we do reject the 80,000 sort of level, the only problem I've got as to why potentially we have bottomed already is the you can't get an overlap of wave 4 into wave 1. So if we start getting above the 80,000 mark, we have to assume that the low is in for this wave. So what we could end up getting, because we've had a 3-wave down, we could have a combo Elliott wave correction on the hands, so WXY. So they all consist of 3 waves. So W wave is 3, so you've got 1, 2, 3. The X wave tends to be a slow sideways sort of move up. So we could wick to the 80,000 all the way up to 100,000, 90, say 98,000, and then back down, sort of back down to the 40s, 35 sort of region. But yeah, no, so it's looking, the higher we crawl, the more positive. The naked point of control I'm sort of paying attention to is the weekly I've labelled here. I will go through, I do a lot of footprint charts, volume analysis. I will include that in the future if you guys do want me to. So again, 82,000, we may see a wick up to be something like this. So again, if you get above, like I said before, the 74,900 up to 80, you want to see a proper takeout of the late sort of shorts, really, to get those liquidated from sort of below. So you come up, liquidate, straight back down. So you got a few options, but again, in terms of the bullish side, that's what I'm looking for. So if we flip 74,900, just shorting that would be I don't think a very good decision at all. In terms of the short, the only way I would really do that is if we start closing below this sort of support region. So you've got support support. We try to break down the balls. The balls weren't having that today. So if we get something like this, again, you fall below it. If you retest it, so if you fail to get back above that, you're just going to short it down. In terms of targets, we can look at the sort of the volume range. The point of control lines up nicely with the support region down to the 70,700 mark. You could even look at if we have topped out at 76. Again, perfect. So 69,600 is so much confidence here already. So you would look to really come down to the to that sort of region for your first take profit. You'd expect some sort of bounce again up to potentially this order block here, 71.7, but ultimately once you lose that level of volume, yeah, another low is very possible. I mean, this whole structure is corrective, there's no doubt about that. In terms of account, you've got first wave here, second wave here. Yeah, it's complicated. So you could do W wave, X wave, Y, X. We'll go for another video, but it's a corrective structure. If you look at the volume as well, yeah, it's no increase in volume as you go up. You know, volume's declining. It's a range at the end of the day. So nothing I'm getting too excited about. Volume profile. Yeah, you know, you got that liquidity gap I've talked about before. So these wicks will fill. If we start reclaiming the 75s, you're going to be looking for those moves up to 80,000. So yeah, so keep an eye on those triggers. In terms of altcoins I'm looking at, spoke to a few people earlier on. We're looking at sort of Wormhole as a potentially quite a good altcoin to get into. We're looking at a again, it's just playing the range, so we're looking at range low. So this wick down here. So again, we deviated below. We're back above the 17 cents area. In terms of targets, the range high should be ultimate target at 218 cents. You'd be looking at first target really this sort of mini EQ sort of here, the mid range at 198, then up to 217. But what to show you, I know the update I showed yesterday, TAA, failed to reclaim that level, but you know I did mention a rejection at the 217 sort of 8 region, came straight back down. So if you did take that short, it's a 10% move, guys. So well done. But if we get above the 298 region, you're looking for moves up to the 310, the 320s. It's just going to keep on crawling up. We're going to hit this sort of level here at sort of 360. But in terms of what I also look for to help if Bitcoin's going to pump or dump is the USDT, so stables dominance. Quite simply, we are seeing obviously Bitcoin bullish. So when the USDT dominance drops, you see crypto pump and vice versa. And yeah, it's not looking bullish. We're sort of bouncing around this order block here, not very convincingly. So again, if we start to lose or chop around here, for example, we may see something like this. So like again with Elliott Wave, for example, you've got that 3-wave sort of structure. You know, you've got 1, 2, 3, X wave, 1, 2, 3. So I do expect to tap down to the 6.5%. So this is where Bitcoin, once we get down to here, we could see Bitcoin hitting those 80,000 sort of levels. So that liquidation down. I don't think this is topped out yet. Reason being is we still haven't hit the range high. We've hit it, but not we haven't come down impulsively, so I would expect ideally if we can take out the previous high at 9.5%, I think for me that would be perfect. So if we do get that, that's when you're going to see that final drop in Bitcoin. But if we do start seeing us come below the 6.5%, we're going to see some massive pumps in the crypto market. I mean, if we do end up being more bearish than anticipated, you may start getting this sort of structure. So come right down, get a head and shoulders sort of pattern going on. To be something like that. If you get that, yeah, Bitcoin's going to be pumping 100k, 95, 100. But the idea is to keep different scenarios in mind. You don't want to be stuck in one bias. As a trader, you need to be on your feet. The smallest thing can change. You need to adapt to that and be ready for it. That's why before every trade you have to have sort of a plan B. You have your main plan, but yeah, you want your plan Bs. So for example, today Solana, nice bounce off the range high here, but again, it's not convincing enough for me just yet. We could be seeing a corrective wave. So let me show you what I mean. So many now would be long on this. They would have longed that, and I get it. But until we start reclaiming, I mean, it's the range high, so you've wicked into this order block here. So for me to truly long, I'd be looking at a long position. And again, it's you place your long sort of above the range high. Stop loss would be below. As long as you hold above it, demand overthrows supply, and you're going straight up. But nothing stopping anyone from getting that wick and straight back down again. There's nothing stopping us. If you were to short, you would wait to come back below, retest, and then back down. But yeah, altcoins today have been a bit choppy. Again, we've had that potential impulse down. We've got a corrective wave going on here. Nothing set in stone today. I think BNB, me and my partner looked at along today. The only one I really saw that looked decent, really. You mark out your levels here, so that's your range low. You back test it straight back up. So if Bitcoin can hold, if it can reclaim that 75.9 area, we'd be looking at longs up to the highs again at 688. So what I focused on today is it's a bit of a hedge. I did take a short on Bitcoin. Pretty much will be stopped out soon. I sort of kept my stop loss at the previous high at 649. So I'm just going to play it by ear, just see how we get on. We've got the Asian markets open. So again, if we start getting sort of moves above that previous wick, you're going to be looking at moves up. I did hedge my short with a long position, which is playing out lovely. So I did get in a short, in a long, sorry, on Ethereum. So I think as long as if Bitcoin can hold up, Ethereum's going straight to the highs. It's gonna a hedge is really good because you've got with if you're in a Bitcoin short and something changes, you're going to be looking for that being stopped out, and you're going to be losing money. But if you can put a hedge on a safer play, you're going to offset some of those potential losses. So you're looking for the strong plays, and you get stopped out of your lost position, but then the winners will continue. So yeah, quickly I'll go through XRP, and that's a pretty common one that people like. It's always a nice trade when it gets moving. It's beautiful. Again, just stuck in this range we're seeing. So range high, range low. But as it stands in terms of a trade, again, what I truly would like to get into a position would be a wick down to this sort of this sort of order block here. So didn't quite see it. If we can get a sort of ABC to ABC up here, take the liquidity down at $1.41.40, call it 48. If we can sort of get back above, hold your longs here, stop loss below the order block, and you're going up to these highs at 1.64. So potentially a 10% move there to keep an eye on. On the flip side, if we can take out this sort of level here at 1.56, beautiful wick into, but just no follow through from the bears. So if we can sort of wick above this sort of region, long it up to the highs, so we're just sort of mid range. So if we can, so we've got plenty of options. Just need to set your alerts and just look for those triggers to get into those safer plays. All right. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll wrap it up there. Again, I will try and get a video update daily if I can. Do comment, your favorite altcoins, and I will try them as often as I can. Do check out the private groups. I'm always updating my plays. I've got partners plays. You've got educational material, and just to support the channel, it's really appreciated. Well, hope you had a nice day, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Do subscribe to the channel; it really helps me out to upload more frequently. And yeah, well, take care and see you in the next one.